What's up, guys? Welcome back for another one. I finally got all the parts that I needed to do the brake upgrade that I've been meaning to do on my street bob. So let's just jump right into it and I'll show you what we got. First off is this piece here, and this is from OG Moto, and this is part of their big brake kit. And what this does is it basically pushes the caliper out a little further to accept a larger rotor in the front. So we go from a stock, I think it's 11.8 inch rotor, to a 13-inch Caliper custom GBrake rotor. I picked the orange carrier with black buttons to go with the bike. They have several other colors, so whatever your color scheme is on your motorcycle, they got some selections for you that'll go nicely. So again, this is the front. This is a 13, about 1.2 inches bigger than stock. So what that means is for every rotation, there's more braking surface for every rotation of the wheel, thus better braking power. And this is the stock size for the rear, but I'm not going to put that on today. It's 90 degrees in here. It's even hotter than that outside. So today we're going to focus on the front rotor with the big brake caliper kit here. I've got Caliper sintered brake pads, front and rear. And I also have some ARP rotor bolts to replace the stock ones. So should be pretty easy. There's not a lot you got to do. Just take the front wheel off, swap the rotor, put the caliper piece on, reattach the caliper. That's really all there is to it. Let's go take a look and see what tools you'll need to do this job. All right, so this is pretty much everything you'll need. Some anti-seize for the axle, some red Loctite, some blue Loctite, some thread chasers, your torque wrench. These are optional. If you have them, you have them. If not, you can do it by hand. This is an axle tool here. It does several different size axles. You'll need the 19mm for the street bob. If you don't have one of these will just work just fine. This is a 19mm. You also have this 6mm for the pinch bolt. I believe this is 10mm, and this is 3/8. So this is for the arc bolts, and this is for the brake caliper to take it off the bike. So let's get over to the bike. I've already got it up on the jack, and we'll start taking it apart. All right, like I said, you use your 6mm. You want to loosen this guy up here, and then you can use your 19 and start taking this out. This street bob is non-ABS, so I just have a spacer on each side. You can take note and do as you like there. I'm just going to loosen this. I have some wood under the tire to help assist removing the wheel, and we'll do the rotor and then we'll worry about the brake caliper next. Alright, you can see I've already got these things loose. I'm using a T40 here. We're just going to remove the old rotor. And if we want to compare the stock, that's how much you're looking at. Not only is she prettier, she's bigger, better. So just gonna clean these threads here, and then we'll put the new rotor on. All right, I've thread chased the holes. I've got my ARP 5/16 because it's 5/16 for the front and 3/8 for the rear wheel. Some blue Loctite. I'm just gonna start them with my hand and then torque them all down to spec. All right, we're gonna torque these down to spec. I believe Harley spec is 16 to 24 foot-pounds. I'm going to torque them down to 20. There we go. Now we'll do the caliper and then we'll put this back on. So what I decided to do is, while the caliper was still attached to the fork, I used this to pull back the brake pads to make room for the bigger brake pads. Basically set the pistons on each side here, so you can just wedge them back here. I just thought, you know, while this is attached to this, I don't have to fumble with it in my hand so much, and I was able to back them out a little bit. Now the plan is to remove these two. I got a bungee here to hang the caliper, swap the pads out, and we'll put the big rotor kit on. And so I'm using my 10mm 12 point to take these off. Alright, so I wanted to talk about this big rotor bracket by OG Moto. It didn't come with any instructions, but when you look at this, you have two different sides. So one side, these bolts, and these bolts are the same size, there's no thread for this to screw into, so it just slides right in and out. All right, this side here is the opposite. This has threads in it. So this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking you take this and you put it behind here. This threads into this piece, and then the caliper mounts here. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use some red Loctite just to get it in nice and tight, and then we'll swap the brake pads and put the caliper on. So really quick, I just want to compare the stock brake pads. This is how much brake pad is in a new one. You can see I'm pretty worn out. Definitely time for a change. These are the Caliper ones that they recommend for these rotors. You don't need the anti-squeal on the front. And if you noticed, the brake pads don't come out until you remove these two posts here, and that holds this clip up in here, and the post pass through. So we're just going to do the same thing in reverse. I've already pushed back the pistons, like I said before, when it was still attached to the fork. So we'll just slide these in and put it back together. and that's probably the trickiest part of everything. These two posts, the way this clip goes, the clip goes flat like this, and one post goes over this inner and through both pads, and the same thing on the front. The bolt goes through the hole of the pad, over this inside part of the clip, and into the hole of the other pad there. So brake pads on, and I'll get everything torqued down to spec once I put everything back on. Now I'm going to put the wheel on, line up the caliper, and see how it goes. Just used a little part cleaner to clean the old grease and dirt off the axle. I have some new anti-seize. I'm just going to put some across and spread it out. Alright, I think I finally got it. My main issue was when I connected it the way I had it, I was getting a lot of rubbing and bumping on the caliper from the rotor. So I had to play with it a few times, took everything off. I left the wheel on, and what finally worked was I attached the caliper to the bracket first, and then I attached the bracket to the fork leg here, and just kind of played around tightening it, you know, evenly, not all at once, and I finally got it. So just so you know, these are torqued down to 30 foot-pounds. The axle, I believe it's 59 to 79, and the pinch bolt was 21 to 25 foot-pounds. So that's all been torqued down already. Another thing to note, this cable was a little tight here, and what I did was I took this screw off, pulled this whole clip here, and there's like a rubber boot that the brake wire passes through. I slid the boot over that way and then reconnected it, kind of giving it a little more slack down here. So it looks to be good. Like I said, it was just a little tight, so I did make that adjustment. Also, anytime you change the brakes, you want to press the pistons back to the brake pads, so you do have to pump the brakes several times until you get some pressure built back in there. Don't just take it out and try to use your brake on the front. The first try, you will have nothing. So I think everything is done. I do want to take it out for a test ride, so that's what I'm gonna do, just kind of play around with it. The bracket, I was starting to worry that it didn't fit right, and if I can find a good spot here, probably can't see it, but you can see here, this is where the rotor was rubbing against. You can see where it's shiny metal there. I did
checked, make sure the rotor was on evenly and true. I had no issues there. Again, it just had to play around with those 4 bolts. Finally got it. So after the test drive, I will give you guys an update on what I think. We will be doing the rear one. I do got to take it into the shop because this front tire is due. So I may just have them do the rear just to get it done, because like I said, it is super hot in here, and I don't have a real lift or anything or anybody to help me out with the rear, so we'll see. I might just have them do it while it's in the shop there. So, but I'll give you guys my thoughts. Let me just take it out and see how it's working.
Alright guys, so technically this is day 2. Been riding around trying to break into brake pads, but I can say the rotor looks beautiful. It's such a nice accent piece to the bike. The colors match perfectly. Super happy about that. I had considered when I first was buying everything to do a comparison between the stock brakes and the Caliper Big Brake Upgrade, but I came to the conclusion that it wouldn't be such a fair comparison, being that the stock brakes already had 15,000 miles on it. It was already time to change them, so I didn't see the purpose in doing that. It wasn't a fair comparison to me. But once I break it in and I got the rear rotor on, I will give you guys my full assessment as far as performance over stock, just, you know, how it feels to me. Nothing really scientific other than that. So I am going to take it to the dealer because it does need its service. It is due for its service. It does need a tire, and I just figured while they're at it, just put the rear rotor and brake pads on for me. Just get it done quicker, and this way I'm not trying to do that without a lift in my garage where it's sweltering hot at this time of year. I mean, at 10 o'clock at night, it's 87 degrees in my garage, to give you some context. It gets hot down here. And my garage faces west, so the later part of the day, the sun really beats on it. So, but we'll get it done, and I'll give you guys a follow-up video after this. For now, let's just pull over. I'll show you what it looks like outside. And then I'd love to hear what you guys think about it. So there she is. Like I said, the rear rotor's next, so be on the lookout for that one, and I'll give you guys my overall thoughts. But all in all, this bracket is working good so far. The rotor is beautiful, the color match is perfect, so I'm really happy about the way it looks. But you guys know what to do. If you like videos like this, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.